Hey, hey, my magical friends, and welcome to another Witchful Ways podcast episode. I am Annika, offering you insight, guidance, tools, and talisman to allow you to live a magical life every single day. So, what are we going to babble about today? Today, I'm going to talk about gratitude and journaling. And you guys know I am huge on gratitude and finding yourself in the gratitude loop. What's the gratitude loop again, really quickly? The gratitude loop is when you make a conscious decision to be very grateful and thankful for a few things in your life every single day, no matter what it ends up being, right? The coffee was the perfect temperature. The dog didn't pee in the house. Your lipstick didn't rub off, whatever it is, right? You find things to be grateful for. And then what happens is universe going to match, divine is going to match that energy, right? It's going to send you more things that you can become aware of to be grateful for. So when you then look at those and go, oh, look at this, I've got even more. Now it's easy for me to list 5 things or to think about from 3 things to 5 things about what I'm grateful for. And divine universe energy goes, oh my gosh, she gets it. Like she's looking at things that she's grateful for. So let's send some more stuff to be grateful for. And you get in this gratitude loop, right? You find things to be grateful for. You get sent more things to be grateful for. You see those things and you're grateful for them, right? So you get in this loop. It's a wonderful place to be, but it does take work. It takes making sure that you are making, again, that conscious decision until it becomes an unconscious thing, right? And that's kind of what true magic is anyway, right? We are doing transformations within so that it is reflected to our without. As above, so below. Okay, so let's talk about gratitude journaling because as I just said, traditional gratitude journal entry listing 3 things that you're thankful for each day, it helps countless people shift towards more positive thinking. I still invite everybody to do that. You don't have to write it down, but just make that conscious decision that throughout the day, you can find things or at the end of the day, maybe when you're hopping in bed, that you think about your day and what happened that I can be grateful for today. But for a lot of people, that approach eventually ends up feeling really repetitive and mechanical, right? If your gratitude practice has become a little bit stale, it might be time to explore different fresh techniques that you can use to reignite your appreciation and deepen your experience. So we're going to talk about those today. So what about a challenge to gratitude conversion? So instead of only focusing on obvious positives, try transforming challenges into opportunities for gratitude. Identify a difficult situation from your day, then write about aspects you can appreciate within it. Perhaps a traffic jam allowed you to listen to an extra podcast episode. Hello. Or maybe a work criticism helped you to understand and grow in an area that you lacked in. That practice builds resilience by training your mind to find value even in the obstacles. And this is something that if you've taken my Discover Your Intuition course, this is something that we dive into in there as well, because this being able to see the gratitude in the challenges is something that really propels you very quickly to a different perspective, a different vibration and frequency as well. It helps you stay higher vibe, if you will. So what about sensory gratitude? Dedicate journal entries. And I say journal entries, but again, you don't have to write things down. I am a pen to paper kind of person. I love having a journal, but I also use voice notes and I've used a voice recorder in the past, old school days, right? You can use the notes app on your phone, whatever it is, however you choose to journal, a digital journal, whatever it is. But dedicate journal entries, or think about, I'm going to say just journal entries, to each of your 5 senses. One day, write about 5 things you're grateful to have been able to see. Perhaps the smile of your child or a stranger, or the morning light through your window, right? The next day, focus on sounds that you appreciated, then the tastes, then the touches, and the smells. That technique grounds your gratitude in immediate, embodied experience rather than abstract concepts. right? So to think previously, we said, think about challenges and how you can see things to be grateful for within them. It takes a little bit of looking into, right? If you're using sensory gratitude, you know what you smelled today. If I smell lilacs on my walk, I am immediately going to feel grateful for that because it's one of my favorite smells. Right? So that's something that is a sensory gratitude. I am so thankful for the smell of lilacs or the different flowers as I'm on my walk, or grandma's baking bread, or my new baby's head, or whatever it is, right? So sensory gratitude is a great way to get into. Now, this also, if you're working on manifesting and or spell casting, which is basically one and the same, right? This is going to really put you into that sensory perception so that you can use the elements. You can use this in mastering the elements because, again, that's what manifesting is. It's using the principles, science, nature to be able to transform within so that we can manipulate from without, right? Or are without. So when we are doing that, I always tell people, make sure that you are using all five senses. Make sure that you are using all five senses when you're doing your visualization in your manifestation or work or in your spell work. Again, kind of one and the same. So the next one, how about a letter of appreciation? Now, of course, you're never going to send it, but write a detailed letter to someone who positively impacted your life, describing specific actions they took and how those actions affected you. So unlike traditional thank you notes, right, those letters, they aren't actually meant to be sent. It's just the act of writing it itself that helps crystallize your appreciation. However, you might occasionally choose to share one or create a meaningful connection with somebody by actually sending it. I can tell you that one of these most powerful people and influential people in my life was my fifth grade teacher. His name was Mr. Hunt. He was amazing. And he was the first time that I can really remember an interaction with somebody that wasn't a family member, right? That gave me self-empowerment and self-confidence. And he did that with everyone. I'm sure I wasn't the only one that connected in that way with him, but there's that, right? That's appreciation. I let him know that. And I think it's been a couple years ago that he actually passed away, but I was able to let him know that as an adult, that you had this influence, right? So for me to be able to be so appreciative of it and so grateful for him and my interaction with him, and for him to receive that was even more of a gift for both of us, right? So whether you decide to send it or not, completely up to you, but it's always wonderful to be able to sit down and see the goodness in a connection or a relationship with somebody that really has touched you in a special way. Okay, next one. What about second chance journaling? So reflect on past experiences that you once took for granted or you didn't fully appreciate at the time. I think we all have those, right? Perhaps you now realize how formative, again, a certain teacher was, or how precious those college friendships were. Write about the experiences as if you're living them again, but this time with full awareness of their value. I'm sure we've always heard a lot of us have heard hindsight is 2020, right? When we look back on things, we're like, oh, I should have known that. I should have seen that, right? In those moments, but also, oh, I didn't realize that was going to be the last time that insert whatever I was going to pick up my child. I was going to give my teenager a kiss on his way out the door for school, right? At a certain point, no, not going to happen anymore. Last time that I was going to be able to have lunch with my mother. Last time that I was going to be able to snuggle with my dog on the couch, right? There's a last time for everything. And if we learn to live in the moment, we can always be grateful and we can always look at our past experiences in a positive way because we never took anything for granted. We were grateful for them in the moment. So There are some times, again, when we look back and we go, okay, this was not the way that I wanted it to be. If I'd have known it was going to be the last time that, or if I had known this information back then, I would have done this instead or said this instead, whatever it is. When that comes up, when you are able to take it and put it onto paper, or to even talk to, if you're journaling like this and you're using a recorder or, right, you can just talk to your recorder like you're telling the story to your best friend, right? So taking that experience and adding into it, being grateful in the moment, helps us to really feel like we have that second chance, right? Like we can really understand that this is how it should have went, or would have been better if it went this way. And then this would have been the action or reaction or effect from it. Okay, so let's talk about another one that's a little different, and it's called gratitude time travel. So if you were to project yourself into the future and imagine looking back on your current life, what aspects of today might your future self miss or appreciate? Ooh, that's a good one, right? Gets you a little bit thinking, like, what's my life going to be like in 5 or 10 years from now? Or 20, 25, 30 years from now. And if I look back on today and remember today, what would be the things that I would miss or appreciate? That perspective often reveals how special ordinary moments really are. Maybe from things like the sound of your children playing and their laughter to the freedom of your current living situation, or maybe the troubles of your current living situation and being able to actually move through them and knowing how strong you were to be able to survive through what you had to, right? Being able to look back on things while you're in them sounds strange, but again, it really does allow you to be present and grateful in the moment, which is how you live a magical life daily. You have to live it in the moment. You have to find the ways that you can be satisfied and happy in every moment. That doesn't mean that everything is, right, unicorns and rainbows all the time, because we all know that that's not true. But to be able to take that perspective really changes things. All right. So what about interdependence awareness? So choose one item that you use daily, like maybe your smartphone, your coffee, a favorite chair, and trace all the people who made it possible. The designers, the factory workers, the delivery driver, the salespeople, and all the countless others that had a hand in it, right? That exercise transforms mundane objects into reminders of our interconnectedness and the countless unseen contributions that support our lives. How crazy is that if you think about how many people had to put effort into something that you have, own, and use on a daily basis that you never really thought about? All of those unseen contributions down the line of that item, from its inception to its creation to its purchase, shipping, and received by you, right? How many people unknowingly had a part and support in that? And then take it even further. Once you're kind of like, okay, yep, this is fun to think about. What about your spirit family? What about your spirit team? Those that are always surrounded you, your guides, the angels, your ancestors, right? All of those ascended masters, crossed over loved ones, those that are countless people that have a hand in supporting you every single day and wanting to give you the insight and the guidance that you need to be able to avoid pitfalls, to be able to live, again, a truly magical life, right? That happens when we dive into discovering our intuition and how we connect with them so that we can make the most of that. Again, if you're not in the Discover Your Intuition course, check that out, or check out the Inner Circle that has all of the courses that I've ever created that dives into discovering your intuition and manifesting the most magical life that you can have. Okay, so the true power of gratitude journaling comes not from the rigidity of adhering to formulas, but from continuously discovering new dimensions of appreciation. And by varying your approach, like in the ways that we just talked about, you'll develop a more nuanced awareness of the abundance and the prosperity that surrounds you, transforming your gratitude from a daily task what are the three things that I'm grateful for today, into a lens through which you can view the world in a totally new, fun, and exciting way. And lastly, be sure to head over to the website at witchfulways.com so that you can grab all of your freebies off of the website there, as well as join my private Facebook group if you're on the Book of Faces. And you can check out all of the handmade tools and talisman that I have available in my shop as well. Have a wonderfully magical rest of your day. Thank you for joining me for another episode, and we will see you next week.